myself this question, trying to learn a lesson while the people's indiscretion. And it's my impression that we need a new direction. Instead of spiraling out of control, you should set yourself up with a couple of goals. Try to reach a new level or a higher plateau. 'Cause I know that your mind is worth much more than gold.
DEQ mandated all municipal governments, City of Harrisonburg, Stanton, Rockingham County, everyone had to hit certain recycling percentage rates. Meaning, if you have this much refuse that's generated in your city, you need to recycle at least 25% of it.
It is required under city code, although I will admit that not necessarily everybody recycles, for whatever reason.
So we try to recycle as much as we can. When we go inside, I can show you our little setup that we have in our back room. And I also do a lot of processing materials in our basement. So I do electrical work, and so I process all extra wire and metal that we have. And then with the city, we mostly just recycle our plastics and glass. Number 1 and number 2 plastic, which we put in our bin and put out to the curb. Any other number of plastic we collect, and my wife's parents live in the county, so we actually take it to them, and then they take it to the landfill because they recycle all number plastics in the county. Paper and cardboard and paperboard, we collect all that, and then I take that over to EMU because they have a big trailer where we can do that. Plastic bags as well. Shopping bags, EMU takes.
This center is part of the physical plant. This is where we bring all of the recycling that we collect on campus, and it's where we do all the sorting, which is a major part of our jobs. And the sorting, the loading up into the trucks, and the loading up of the bins into the paper trailer to be sent off to the next step of the line. And our daily jobs, for the most part, is the collection of the recycling, which we use these bikes and trailers for. So multiple days a week we'll be riding the bikes up on campus, going through the buildings and going through the office buildings to collect paper and cans and bottles, and going to centralized locations in dorm rooms to collect the same paper and cans and bottles and cardboard to bring down here for the sorting.
After we sort all the material here, we then package it up in larger bins, and we will take our bottles and cans to Days Recycling down in the south end of town. And most of our paper goes to Valley Paper, a local paper processing company.
Glass. So one of the streams of cans and bottles will be glass, which currently goes to landfill and isn't really recycled. We know what happens to glass. The glass gets crushed and mixed up with some aggregate to use as a cover on the landfill.
We're doing now, so we're going to be stopping running 2 sets of trucks. So we're going to run just our trash trucks. We're not going to send all of our recycling trucks out anymore. We're still going to be doing a little bit, but we're not going to go, because we don't pick up the entire city.
Okay.
Right, so like I mentioned earlier, there are some private haulers that pick up refuse and recycling throughout the city as well, and they take it to their own facility. A lot of the single-family homes, we would still go out, and a lot of the business, we would still go out and pick it up. But we would go around picking up the trash, and we would go picking up the recycling as well. So it's 2 sets of trucks. Now we would only go around with the trash trucks. We tell all of our citizens, put everything in one bag. We'll take it all. Because now we're going to send it to this location, Troy, Virginia, where they're going to hand sort everything. They actually built a facility near a jail, where the jail trustees, inmates will actually work there.
Oh, that's interesting. I could see a town using prisoners to sort the recycling, but a for-profit business using prisoners was shocking to me.
And we utilize that as well. We use the Rockingham County Jail trustees to come out, and these are small-time offenders. It's just sort of a good program. We have work going with them. They come in and help do the sorting. So they're the ones who actually do the sorting for us.
think our planet's lyrically famished. It's so outlandish to try to make that vanish. I give you all this verbal sandwich, and if you wish, I rock this shit in Spanish like uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis. I rock the flows from planet Earth through deep outer space, and always with great musical grace coming from the Golden State. So people have your cake and eat this too. Chocolat blue, I can rock it in French, cool. So these flows for those up on the bar stools and those.
Stanton was probably the first municipality in this area to offer curbside recycling. That started about 1991, 1992 timeframe. We've been somewhat responsive to what the public has wanted. A few years ago, it was probably back in 2012, 2011, that people had requested recycling different types of plastics. So we expanded the plastics that we recycled. It used to be just milk jugs and soda bottles, but now most products are packaged in plastics. So we recycle anything from plastics 1 to 7 at curbside. The other thing that people had requested was recycling things like, used to collect as newspapers, but cardboard boxes, food product boxes, cereals, crackers, tea, to recycle those. So now we recycle what we call mixed paper. We take magazines at the curbside, newspapers, cardboard boxes, brown boxes, books, phone books, any type of what they call rag product we take at the curbside. We're not a transfer station here. It goes directly to the recycling yard in a private third party. It's called Sunoco Recycling in Fishersville. They're actually a much larger company. They have a local office here. They have another office, I think, down around the Lynchburg, Amherst area. A lot of glass is actually being shipped overseas to China. When you look at some of the numbers, recycling is actually very expensive to do. Recycling costs us pretty close to maybe $300 a ton to do that, whereas landfilling actually costs us probably maybe around $25 to $30 a ton. Refuse to recycling, or what they call an enterprise fund, which means they're funded by the users. Same thing for water and sewer. So your tax dollars that you pay for real estate, personal property, they take care of things like the streets, the schools, police, fire, parks and recreation, but water and sewer are paid by user fees. Refuse and recycling are also paid by user fees.
The refuse part of it was self-sustaining because we were charging a fee to our citizens. And initially, we weren't charging recycling fees. And that was just a benefit that we wanted to be able to provide. But as the market rates started declining more and more, it became more of an issue because we wanted to continue the program with recycling because it was a good thing to do. Because we were running basically $1 million recycling program, collection and processing, and then we're only selling between $75,000 to $125,000. It's the economy is a driving factor. Dollars run everything, and everyone really does. They have to look out for their own budgets.
As a university, we get charged per ton for the trash we produce. So specifically, it's $50 a ton for all the waste that gets put in landfill from EMU. For the recycling, we get paid various amounts for each different commodity. I'm sure we're not paying the cost of what they're paying us. I'm sure that's not being covered with the money we get from recycling.
People get educated as kids in school help educate their parents and bring that home. I think it will start to increase. We have seen steady growth in recycling over the years.
The challenge is definitely, behavior change, like getting people to care. And I feel like it just comes down to getting people to care about what happens with their waste that they produce and taking the extra step to separate your waste and put the recycling in the recycling bin and the trash in the trash bin. That's the most challenging and frustrating part for sure.
So it's a cycle of education that we have to perform quite often.
Yeah.
60-70% of households that actually recycle.